My name is Majid Mustafa. I'm from Uganda, and in today's forum, I will be your moderator. I will be asking you the questions, or mainly I will be conducting the forum and making sure I'll be basically directing the discussion. And thank you for all the esteemed panelists for attending the session. And we can go forward with each introducing ourselves. I think I've introduced myself enough, and I guess we could start with Rafah from the left of the screen. If you could please introduce yourself, the stage is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Rafah Al-Khateeb. I'm from Lebanon, and I guess I'm really excited to be here today. I'm also very excited to be part of this. It's such a nice thing for us youth. Thank you.
You're welcome. And moving on to my right is Salama. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. So if I mispronounced your name, please forgive me for the first time. Please introduce yourself.
No, it was right. My name is Salama Salem. I am from the United Arab Emirates, and I'm excited also to be here. And it is such a big opportunity for all of us, I think.
I hope all of you guys have the same view like me, because when I say right, like I'm basically saying it from how I'm seeing the screen. So I guess the next person would be Mrunmayee, Rahalkar. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mrunmayee Rahalkar. I am from India. I am 19 years old, and it is an honor to be a part of this panel discussion. I am looking forward to having great conversation with all of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Dhavedha, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing the name again. Forgive me for the first time. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
So, hello everyone. I am Dhavedha Darshini. That's my name, Dhavedha Darshini. I am from India, and again, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. And Sivani P. Nathan, please tell us about yourself and introduce yourself. Which country are you from? How old you are? Just the basic introduction.
Hey everyone, I'm Sivani P. Nathan. I'm from India and I'm 15 years old, and I'm really looking forward to hearing everyone's ideas and expressing my own.
Very happy to have you. And Milena Danilova, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Milena. I'm 15 years old and I'm from Uzbekistan. I'm really glad to be here because I've been looking for an opportunity like this for quite some time now.
We're very glad to have you, by the way. And is Kasiet Nurlanbekova over here?
Yeah, I'm here. My name is Kasiet Nurlanbekova and I'm from Kyrgyzstan. So I'm really happy to be here and hope that everybody will get some experience. That is all.
And likewise, we're very happy to have you. And Rahaf, Hamza, if you could also introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Rahaf Hamza. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Lebanon. I'm very glad to be here. It's really an honor to be invited to this summit, and I like to hear from everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. Hopefully I haven't left anyone else out. It's very nice to see that there are people actually like youth joining us from every part of the world. I mean, we have people from Lebanon, people from Emirates, from India, from Kyrgyzstan. It's amazing. And I'd like to pose my questions. I want to ask Mrunmayee Rahalkar. I'm so sorry, by the way, it's like for the pronunciation. Could you pronounce it again? So.
Mrunmayee, you're pretty close. You're pronouncing it correctly.
Okay, I'm in the safe zone in that case.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you, how has living in a global pandemic affected your social life? I mean, we used to do many things before pre-pandemic era. We could go to parties, we could go for socializing events, but that no longer exists. So how's it affected your social life?
It of course brought a lot of change to how things were earlier before the pandemic, because before we could go to school and we had people to interact with, even like you said, birthday parties, or even like in families we have celebrations for certain festivals or something. But last year I was stuck out of out of the country, so I was alone over there. So social life was anyways not like it was not very active. But
Yeah.
I am very fortunate that we had Zoom meetings and Google Meets where we could, at least interact with, like I could interact with my friends and family.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the social life, of course, due to the prevailing conditions, there was no way that anybody could go out. So it was good, like it was not there. Yeah, it was very inactive.
That's true. I mean, like, there were many ways that were developed to communicate with each other. I mean, I even at some point I used to, well, not I used to see my friends watching movies together. Like they literally had movie nights, but online. Like, did you have anything like that with your friends, with your friend circle at the time?
Yeah, and not really movies, but like I said, I was fortunate enough to have them around at least on video calls. So we would have a call, say twice in a week or maybe thrice in a month. So that because of that, I was in touch with them and I knew what was going on. So that was how I interacted with my friends in
I
that
see.
time.
That's very interesting. I mean, the fact that we're all like thousands of miles from each other, but at the same time, we could still keep in touch.
Yes.
So thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
insight. And moving on to our next panelist, Dhavedha. Um, I wanted to ask you as well. What do you think about the social life? How has social life changed from pre-COVID era to now, like pre-pandemic? How has it changed?
Well, I set my birthday. So in India, we had COVID since 2020, March month. Yeah, since then. After that, we had a break in between. Like lockdowns were removed in between for 2 months. I think between January, February, and March. And my birthday fell on 2nd of March, so I had the chance to invite my friends over. So I didn't have it online, but I did celebrate a few of my friends' birthday celebrations over online. It was midnight at 12, and then it was a surprise. Yeah, we sent them the link, and then we asked everyone to join, and then we had fun. And the other celebrations, of course, we couldn't go out because of the pandemic and restrictions being placed. So yeah, it was kind of difficult for us to get to know about others and celebrate festivals or go out for parties, and we had to follow the protocols. So yeah, social life has not been good during the pandemic.
That's true. That's true. And so, do you have any like relatives overseas who are living in other countries, who like perhaps because it happened to me many times because my family is like over many countries. So when I'd video call them, I would see them enjoying. I would see them having fun. Just going out with each other. No social distancing. No kinds of measures whatsoever. And here I am in my own country, cooped up in isolation. So did you experience anything similar?
No, because I am used to being home alone. So being home and not going out. And moreover, we had social media. Again, we have social media. So I was not active in all platforms, but I like binge watching and reading ebooks online. So that kept my mind off the fact that I was not able to go out or enjoy the time with my family and friends outside, having dinner, the weekly dinner outside in restaurants, or a meeting with my friends. Again, meeting with my friends I had to do over online. We used to call every week or so, or we could just normally call using mobile phones. So
That's very interesting insight on how things were done over at your end. And moving on to our next panelist, thank you very much, by the way. So Sivani P. Nathan, what do you think about how has social life changed for you? After they declared lockdowns in India and after they told everyone, okay, you have to stay at home. So how has your social life changed?
So we don't usually go out because I've got a really young sibling, so we had to be extra careful. But other than that, on the rare occasions when we did go out, I noticed that people, if you were wearing a mask, then people were looking at you like you were Like it was a weird thing to do. Like they weren't wearing masks, but in case you were wearing, then apparently it was the wrong thing to do. And I think the thing that has been most affected is that families, because joint families are really rare now. And in case you want to go and meet someone who's in different state, then that's not possible. Like I know a lot of people, me included, I haven't been to see my grandparents in like 2 years or something. So I think that's something that's
I
been
see.
a lot.
And how did you deal with that inability to see your grandparents for that long? I mean, mentally, like, what did you do to calm yourself down or be patient until you could finally see them?
We ended up booking train tickets a few times and then canceling them because we
Oh, I
had
see.
second thoughts. But other than that, it's video calls. Other than that, there's nothing else because they're really
Video
old.
calls.
You can't risk, the
Hmm.
didn't want to risk.
What would we do without video calls? I can't imagine. So, Rahaf, Hamza, do you have any similar experiences or any thoughts to add to what Sivani said?
I would like to say that as teens, we can't just believe what we're experiencing, we just like feel so lost. We feel that everything has changed. So being like far away from friends, from family, from a lot of relatives has just made us like feel fearful. Would you believe that now if like we don't have lockdown and we have celebrations, Eid celebrations, I feel
In Lebanon?
fearful to go out,
Yeah,
Yes. So,
yeah, that's
you
true.
don't know, like, we can't understand our feeling. We can't understand what we are experiencing. It's so hard that you can't believe, oh, I used to go out. And then,
Mhm.
you don't know your friends. Like,
That's true.
it's too hard for everyone. Luckily, we have social media. Luckily, we have like social media accounts. We could chat with someone or a relative, a friend, but it's totally different from before. It's totally uh, it's like a monster. You feel yourself like a monster. You don't believe it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Hopefully,
very true. That's true. I mean, we've had even family members. Sometimes, the way that Corona impacts families, it would affect some people and it wouldn't affect other people. So you'd find yourself avoiding even your closest family members or your closest friends. And you think that the friendship would somehow make you less fearful of each other, but it's just the circumstances that we are living in. So
yeah,
thank you very much, Rahaf Hamza. And Milena Danilova, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I forgot from which country you're from.
I'm from Uzbekistan.
Oh, you're from Uzbekistan. So in Uzbekistan, how has the social life changed since
Oh,
before COVID?
I'm from Uzbekistan, but I actually live in Malaysia, but not at the
Oh, you live
moment.
in
So
Malaysia.
it's kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
So tell us about Malaysia. I mean, assuming you have many friends and you've been going to school. So how has it changed for you?
I was pretty hesitant to actually like participate in this summit because I think the beginning of COVID especially was extremely difficult to deal with in Malaysia, especially because lockdowns came pretty steady and they were very harsh immediately.
I
So
see. Yeah.
as soon as actually on the day that they were announced, I had just been alone in Malaysia for 3 days because I'm alone with my mother in Malaysia. My family is in Uzbekistan. And at that time, my mom had just left on a business trip.
Yeah.
So I was living with a friend of hers at the time, and it was honestly a bit jarring because we expected that she would come back in a week,
Mhm.
and then she didn't, obviously, and she was stuck alone, like outside for quite some time, and I was stuck there. And I couldn't go to school. My friendships were actually falling apart because I couldn't really deal with being away from people. I'm kind of a very person friendly type of person. I'm very extroverted.
Yeah.
So social life for me just went like to dead end. It just stopped and I couldn't deal with it, I guess. It was very difficult.
I see.
I think everyone experienced that.
Yeah, I think many of us could relate to that fact. and you couldn't take your extrovertedness to the online realm. Like, was it just in person? Are you a very extroverted person when it comes to in real life, or are you the same with video calls and calls? Because many people, that's how they dealt with it. I mean, when they had friends who were living in very faraway places, they took the friendship to the internet. So was that the case in your situation?
I'm extroverted in person. When I get home, immediately I kind of quiet down. I like switch to introverted actually immediately after I get home. So again, I had basically no contact. My mom would call me every once in a while because she was obviously worried. But yeah, I'm not the type of person I prefer talking to people in person. I prefer looking at the person and being able to communicate with them that way. So it was I was very alone. And living with the person that I was living with was still very quiet at the time.
Thank you very much, Milena, for sharing your experience. And going on to the last panelist, as for this question, Kasiet Nurlanbekova, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I wanted to ask you, tell us about your social life as well. How has it been from before COVID-19 to after COVID-19?
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Kasiet. So firstly, I want to tell you that I'm kind of extroverted person. So for me, sitting at home for 6 months was really hard. So our father just said us just sit at home, and we were sitting at home for this 6 months. And my experience was like, our school system is already in crisis. So firstly, I want to tell you sorry for my English, but I'm just
no problem.
My name is Kyrgyz and Russian. Okay, so I want to tell you that our educational system is already in crisis. So firstly, we are just studying some facts that we don't need in real life. But firstly, educational system was invented for people to know how to be people, for some moral qualities to be better. But nowadays, our educational system is just for learning some facts that we don't need. I'm just telling about Russian curriculum, Russian system. So I'm in Kyrgyzstan, so we have Russian system. So in the school, we could communicate, talk with each other, and we had some классные часы with our classmates to just talk and do something like this. So you could just how could I tell? You could increase your social level, social skills, and learn how to communicate. But unfortunately, during the pandemic, we were like in the prison, and our education was just to learn some facts that I won't need in the future, and then we must just give this information for our teachers. So it wasn't anything which helped me to be better like a person. Firstly, I think that educational system is something for moral qualities of person, and we just must do them better. So education must prepare a person for the life. But I wasn't preparing for the life for 1 year. I was just sitting in quarantine, and it was really bad for my mental health too, I think.
I see. So thank you very much for sharing your experience. And
thank you.
So I wanted to ask Sivani P. Nathan about what do you think is the use of social media in today's world when it comes to finding a job, or the impact of social media in general on our youth of today?
I think, like you mentioned, it opens up a lot of opportunities for people, especially right now when we're inside our houses, and I think it presents a lot of opportunity for a lot of people.
I see. Social media can be a very good thing, and at times it can be a very bad thing. So could you just briefly talk about the pros and cons of social media?
Well, I'm not really sure about myself, but my sister, she's around 8 years old, and I've seen her get addicted to not social media in general, but the stuff that I only came to know when I was 14. So I think the
Yeah,
fact that everyone at home doesn't have time for the younger ones, and because we're also busy with our lives, and because of the pandemic and they don't have anything else to do, they're caught up in stuff that they shouldn't be doing right now. They should be running around and playing, but my sister's, she's pretty much on her device 24 cross
mm,
7. So I've seen that
that's true.
happen to a lot of younger people. The younger generation, I think they're getting affected a lot by social media.
And it's crazy that they actually call it social media, but social media at many times it does the exactly opposite of what they intended to do, which is to make people socialize. I mean, you see sometimes, like you're mentioning your younger sister, and many of my friends, it's like an epidemic on its own. I greet their younger siblings, say hello, how are you, how's life, and these kids are unable to respond. They cannot fathom a real life interaction. So how do you think, Sivani, that we could um, work against, such an epidemic? How do you think we could fix such a problem in our societies?
I think it lies in our hands as older sibling, as an elder sibling I'm talking, and in the parents' hand. Like, instead of saying, when you're younger, just to make them eat, we just give it to them and say, okay, fine, just 5 minutes, and that leads. I think that's what builds up to this. Because
Mhm.
am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
So I've seen parents who have trained their children to have a particular screen time. I think that setting a screen time and then telling children that this is not all that's there to life, and there's a lot more, I think that would help bring a
Mhm.
stop to this.
That's true. So presenting a structured way of enjoying screen time for children is, I think, what you're trying to say, and that's a very good way to approach it. What about? Do you have anything to add when it comes to the pros and cons of social media?
I guess social media is a really cool place because people get a lot of people around the world have jobs because of social media, because of TikTok and Instagram
Mm.
and YouTube. YouTube actually does give a lot of job opportunities to people. So I guess that's really cool about social media.
That's true. And what about the personal effects that it's had on your life, like negative effects and positive effects, especially
I
like
share
during,
stories.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. I share stories on Instagram, and I really like it because it's like a place that you could, keep your memories in. Instagram is really cool because you could go back and see all of your stories, aka all of your memories, and I
Yeah,
think it's really nice. Yeah.
that's true.
And you can also see what your friends are doing. It connects people together.
Mm.
But at the same time, I guess I always have to control my screen time. And
Yeah,
like I'm constantly checking my screen time to see how much time I spent on Instagram today, how much
exactly.
time I spent on Snapchat. Yeah, because like you don't need too much of it. It also hurts your eyes. So
That's true. That's so true. I mean,
yeah.
especially during lockdown. I remember during lockdown, just like scrolling onto Instagram, activity time, I would get shocked by myself when I would see that I'm spending more than 4 hours on the app. And for me personally, the impact was that I was feeling so unsatisfied with my life. Like I really hated my life at that point, especially during lockdown, because whenever I would scroll through the stories, I'd see people having such a fun time. And ironically enough, they're also having such a terrible time. They're hating their lives, but they're posting it as if it's rosy. And it's basically, in a nutshell, everyone hates their lives, but they think someone else's life is good. I don't know if anyone has had a similar experience which they'd like to share and elaborate on.
I'd actually, if it's okay, of course, I'd
Yeah,
love
sure, go ahead.
to mention, like, as you said, some of the negatives, because everyone has kind of touched on the positives. But as you said, social media really taints your worldview because you think that other people are like having these amazing lives, these amazing experiences. They are gorgeous because of filters and all that. It kind of not only makes you hate your life, but it also makes you hate yourself because you're thinking, wow, can I look this way? I wish I could look this way. And even sometimes if it's obvious, it still subconsciously affects you little by little. And I think another point would be that on social media, when you are on your own name, when you are using your personal account, you always have to be very careful at what you put out, which is something that is a lot more dangerous for younger people because they are not really aware of it. But they could put something out right now that they'll regret in 10 years, and they might get like worse opportunities in life because they said something really, really bad, like really ignorant now because they're young and they're just mindless. But on the other hand, you have websites like Reddit and Twitter that can be used anonymously. And that really makes it possible for people to be hurtful to others, as well as be stuck in this like bubble where they can only see their own likes. So they become a lot more sensitive because you're only seeing people that are like you. And when you see people that are not like you, you tend to get a lot more defensive than you would if you communicated in real life, if you had experiences with varying groups other than just your own bubble. So I think that's a really negative point because it makes like my generation, we're probably a lot more sensitive to people that are hateful because we're not used to seeing them. And when we do see them, not only do they have the opportunity to online to just say anything they want without consequence, but at the same time they get to hurt us more because it sensitizes us.
I agree with you. And it looks as though Salama would like to add something as well, because at some point I saw her nodding ferociously. You were like to what Milena was saying.
Agreeing to her point when she was saying that especially our generation is very sensitive to certain topics because we like something and then there's someone that comes and starts hating on it. So we started getting defensive about it because of course we like something, we're not letting someone ruin it. And we spend like our whole day just getting angry at that thought that some person had like the audacity to come and ruin my favorite thing. So that's why I was nodding. I just thought she had a very good point.
I see.
Sensitivity isn't, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's great to be sensitive. It gives you empathy, but at the same time, you just know there are always going to be mean people in the world. So we should also somehow be able to build up a wall. You should know when to not let people ruin your day because it's great to be sensitive, but at the same time, you'll always get someone that will just want to hate on you. And it's inevitable to meet someone like that.
It's important to some degree to like develop a thick skin when dealing with social media. And I just like to also ask Kasiet Nurlanbekova about her thoughts on social media. Do you think social media is good? Is it bad? Little bit of both?
Okay, I don't think that it's bad or that it's good. It's just like a product of our generation. So like everything in the world, it has negative and positive factors. So firstly, I want to tell you about positive factors for me. It's like, of course, communication and ability to talk with people who is not with you, like everyone else said. So for me, it also was like, you know, advertisements in Instagram. They just find your interests and give you some advertisements. So I've just found my university from Instagram. It was like, yes, I saw some advertisement like you like deadline is not soon, so you can just be accepted in this university. And I was like, okay, I will send my documents, and I've just sent it, and I'm waiting for results. It will be for next weekend. So about negative factors, I want to tell that social medias are, this communication is not real. So that is why persons feel of loneliness will be with person. It's just illusion that you are not lonely, because social medias can't just be like real talking with person. And second one, like everyone else said, is hate in the social media, but in some cases it's also good. So I think that we can just use it for the better side. It's like an instrument of our generation. We just must use it, we must accept it, that is all.
So with all the good that social media has, it also has a bad side to it as well. I think what you're trying to say is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that social media is a tool just like anything else. I mean, if I have a spoon, or for instance, if I have this pen, I can't say that this pen is bad, or I can't say that it's good. It all depends on how I use it. If I decide to
Yes.
poke someone in the eye with it, then then it becomes a bad tool. But if I decide to use it to write a poem, then it's a good tool. So thank you very
Yes.
much for sharing that
Thank
with
you.
us. I really appreciate it. And I'd go to the last, I think the last two panelists who didn't talk on this issue are, or three, Sivani P. Nathan and Rahaf Hamza and Mrunmayee Rahalkar. So I'm going to start with Rahaf Hamza. And I want to ask you about social media. Tell us your thoughts on social media.
I think, as you all mentioned, social media has two sides. Like it is just has its good effects and it has its bad effects. It is fake, yeah. It has you can encounter people who are fake, who just show you the good side of their life. So you think you're living at a very bad in a very bad situation. And then if you just go back and go deeper, you find that those people are not happy as you see them.
That's true.
Yes, you meet new people, you know people a lot. You can just make friends, you can make relations, you can make a lot of things, um, as we said before. However, we are all affected. We are all affected negatively. I have a little sister who just thinks that we're living in a very bad community because she watches a lot of things that are not in Lebanon, and she thinks that we're living too bad. She's so affected with that.
That's true.
You,
Yeah,
yes,
it really deceives people. It's like an illusion. It's hard for
it is.
them, especially for small kids. It's hard for them to tell what's real and what's not.